Making sports data more accessible is my topic for today. Sports data can be a bit of a tricky one because normally when we think of sports data, we'll be looking at historical records of previous winners of competitions. I'm probably going to skip this slide. Most people kind of know who I am, and Natalia, you've introduced me enough, but how I got into visualizing sports data was just from a love of football and tennis. And then I just found the data that I was working with very easy to understand. So where can we find sports data? The first one is online repos. There's a huge amount of public GitHub repos where individuals have kind of done the legwork for you. This will be data that's been accessed through APIs, collected themselves, or run through a Python or R script to scrape the data from websites. You'll commonly see people do this against a lot of betting sites. Here I've listed one of my favorite repos by Jeff Sackman. This includes tennis Grand Slam data, which you might have seen in my recent I'm Viz entry. A real wealth of information is kind of stored in this GitHub repo, mixture of stuff from point-by-point analysis. So we'll have aces, serves, faults, and all that's kind of more granular level of detail to the slide, to the repo. The second is Wikipedia. I know it's not always the complete source of truth, but you can use handy online tools such as this convert wiki table to CSV, which will be able to convert it, and then you can export it as a CSV file to then enter into Tableau. I tend to use this for a lot of my tennis bracket visualizations as it shows the order of play. Next, we have FBref and Understat, which leads nicely into coding tutorials. MPL Soccer will be known to many in the community that like football, and hosts a whole lot of resources to kickstart your career using Python as well. Covers things such as radar charts, pitch plots, and pizza charts. You may have seen I've recently posted a new radar chart, which includes Python, Tableau, and Figma to it. Repos like StatsBomb and Understat API are other examples where you can pull data from websites. Again, I did a tutorial on how you can scrape shot location data from Understat and visualize that on a pitch in Tableau. It was originally inspired by a guy called McKay Johns over in America, who you should check out on YouTube doing code along sessions for soccer data. The pass map one was a special favorite of mine. The fourth place that I think is an awesome way of going about collecting data is through self-curation. I haven't done one myself yet, but it's on the pad. This is a screenshot from Alex Jones, and some of you may realize from his Iron Viz competition last year that this is part of his entrance called Corona, playing on the fact that he ended up running a lot more during the lockdowns. With this on my mind, Tableau do offer awesome web connectors which allow you to log into your Strava credentials, and it will list all your data for you, from elevation to time splits to geographical markings, so you can produce similar styles of vizzes to this. So the next part is, what can we visualize? Here I've just dragged a couple of examples of my own work, not to plug it too much, but this is a way of visualizing sports data in an unconventional means. You'll see that there's no kind of bar graphs or line charts to my work. It's very abstract ideas. So the first one is from left to right, a tennis mapping of the big three players in terms of end of year ranking, followed by a radial of who had won each Grand Slam for that decade. Next, we have a radial tournament bracket, which was coined from a guest blog of a normal tournament bracket that I did in collaboration with Kevin on the Twins website. The third is a shape layer tutorial, which may be of interest, using layering to create bespoke visualizations. I think this is quite popular in the community at the moment, to being used. And last but not least is a new player metrics tutorial. I say new, it's about a week old now, known as pizza charts to some that come from the data science background. but maybe a Coxcomb chart to others, which allows you to visualize different player attributes. This was originally written in Python code. However, I created the tutorial in Tableau, so you can pick it up from there. The exciting part of this is all the data comes from different resources I've just spoken about in terms of the online repos, Wikipedia, and a little bit of self-curation / transformation by myself. Here we have a few more concepts. Realistically, this is the main focus that I wanted to talk about. It is coined from a lady called Christina, who created this fantastic chart on the Euros in D3JS. If you take a closer look, you will see that this is the same length for all the charts, but split by goals. However, I wanted to take on the idea and do it per minute. So each of the different charts in my example, which you'll see on Tableau Public, are dependent on the minute of the goal. Just a different creative means of showing that. So I've kind of skipped a slide there, but I want to finally give a few shout outs to the community members, Christina, especially because I've just been inspired by her work to create something of my own. McKay Johns, who you will have seen if you read some of my blogs, did a guest tutorial of Python on my series of What's Good. He does some fantastic stuff for the Python community as well, if you're a beginner. And he's also gone out his way to create Discord where you can share ideas, get feedback, and learn from one another in a safe environment. Finally, where would I be without the rock of the Sports Viz Sunday guys? They recently hosted an Olympics live build with Simon building a Team USA visualization with Kate and Spencer commenting over the top of it. It was super funny, super great to just watch along and see some cool tricks that Simon pulled together. And on that note, I think I'll end it there.
Thank you, CJ. That was really good. The floor is open to questions, so if anybody has some, please ask. And in the meantime, I wanted to ask, so you have some amazing work, really, really inspiring. Which one of your sports visits was your favorite to create and why?
My favorite to create is my I'm Viz feeder for this year's competition. Reasons why, I think it really resonates with who I am from the story outline and merges well with kind of my branding in terms of my website. And I think technically it's probably one of my hardest pieces to make. The workbook's downloadable, and I really enjoyed the use of the map layers and sticking everything into as few sheets as possible. So it's actually a super long viz, but only 4 sheets long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably why. That and the colours, I really did enjoy the colours I chose for it.
It's a really, really cool viz. Really well done on that one.
I feel awkward. I've just kind of promoted my own work.
No, please don't. It's really good work that needs to be shared. So we have a question from Quentin. Thanks for the insight, CJ. How do you maintain or try to balance between abstract visualizations and insights? With that, I mean that it is not simply form over function.
Yep, great point. I think there's a balance, and it depends on your user case. For Iron Viz, you'll see that there's a balance of marking criteria, and kind of abstract ideas don't necessarily fall into it, but it depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? A lot of the stuff I want to do I want to stretch what's possible or think of new ideas and have that creative element, but also it's nice to have sounding boards and people around me that say like, okay, the storyline to this is complete garbage. I understand what you're trying to create, but it doesn't necessarily fit any kind of ideology of what you're trying to show. And I think, you know, there's a fine balance, and sometimes it's good to push past that boundary and be a little bit out there, but know when to pull it back in. And I think you generally see the case of that in work life stuff versus your community online stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And do you normally create visits in your day-to-day job?
Not at current, no, data engineer by trade, I suppose.
Right. Fair enough.
This is
okay.
It's my passion.
Yeah. Such a cool hobby.
It is.